Hey friends, Christopher Wall here. Another trade of the day. Let's see, this was Thursday, August 11th, 2016. This was on the US Tech 100 NQ Futures. And let's see, we've got our normal disclaimer. Let's just knock that out real quick, get that out of the way. You can pause it, look at it, read it. Basically, any trading decisions you make are your own. Just know that. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so off the open, we had a pretty nice run up, which I got into, but got out real quick. I didn't let it breathe. So at this point, we are coming up to the top, it looked like, and this new indicator that I'm testing from Apex called the VAD basically told me right about here this uptrend was exhausted and we are likely going to go in the other direction. So I'm looking for a valid short entry. And some people are just taking these entries right off the VAD and doing really well. And others are taking it with valid signals. I happen to be using the C's chart and the I zone chart on the left. And I was waiting for this. It looks like I got a valid I zone entry, so I decided, okay, we'll get in here and we'll see how things go. And you're going to see I'm going to fill relatively quickly, and then we'll see what happens. Nice speed up the video here and there in places, because overall these trades took probably about half an hour. So I filled, and always the first thing I do is I set my stop above structure, the nearest high, 3 ticks at least. And I always do this because if I'm going to be wrong, I want to definitely be wrong. And so I want that market to retest that recent high and break that high, because that means it's likely going to keep going if it does that. So that's why my stop is always above the structure, or below if I'm buying. So it looks like I got in and kind of popping around a little bit here. It's always just a waiting game. You never know what's going to happen. Took a little heat. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, well, that happens. I took the setup. That looked good based on all the parameters, but you never know what's going to happen. And then I noticed we had a little retrace here. Maybe we're coming up making a lower high, which is always a good sign, because we're testing back into this area, this I zone, this 4808, 48010 area. And I was hoping, okay, come on, keep coming down. And this is the beautiful thing about being in the elite room, because you get multiple pairs of eyes. And I think I'm actually going to hit my first target at 6 ticks. And I end up, learning to trade the chop, I got into the mode of, so I'm going to pull my stop to break even. But you're going to see that I didn't give it quite enough room to breathe. And I'm probably going to get stopped out. But, I grabbed $30 for my trouble. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse sometimes. There it goes. Yep. Trading this way, the market can either chop around and stop me out, or it can just drop and go in my favor. But most of the time I'm playing, I'm just playing solid defense, right? I'm trying to make sure that I'm locking in some ticks, but at the same time reducing my risk as quickly as possible, especially in the chop. Now when things accelerate, when the volatility really comes back, it's going to be more and more important to give the trade room to breathe. And in the elite room, so yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. So it's really nice because they're in there and you have other traders, experienced traders, talking about what's going on with the same markets, what they're seeing, what they're thinking. And Lori is in there, and she's like saying, "Hey, I'm expecting some chop around this deviation level." And so that gave me a heads up to kind of keep an eye on it. I still like the fact that we're biased to go short. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll get another opportunity to get back in. But if we're going to chop, maybe I'll do a chop box. And so I'm basically watching the C's chart on the right. We got that up bar with a wick, the down bar with a wick. We got another up bar with a wick. So that's some tight quill chop right there. So I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, okay. I want to go short, and then maybe I'll make a chop box entry off of this position. So, and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, maybe we're making a third lower high, which is also another very good sign that we're going to go short. And if I got another valid entry to go short, which actually I did, I got another I zone entry you can see right there. The second one, which I'm keeping an eye on, but I really wanted to base this off of that chop zone. And you'll see I measure it. And I put that pending order just below the chop zone. And I'm going to draw the box here. I can see these now without the boxes, but when you're learning to do this, drawing in the box is always a good idea because it helps you visualize it pretty easy. You'll see me do that here in a second. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, we've tested back into this area, forming three lower highs. We got that red eye zone. The VAD definitely signaled that the top of this uptrend is likely over, and that we're going to have a reversal. And we got that tight coil chop, which means it could spring one way or the other. And in this case, hopefully we're going short. So I'm just sitting here with my pending order, and either I get filled or I don't. Could turn around, it could head back up, and I was wrong. Oh well, no big deal. We'll just wait for the next good setup. And I'm just kind of double checking things, and here we go. I had a little time to think about it, so I'm like, I might as well draw my chop box, which in this case I took the high and then the low there, the absolute high and low, and just made that little box. And I'm going to double check my entry to make sure I'm like 2 or 3 ticks below that chop box. Well, that's after I draw my little trend arrow with the 3 lower highs. Just kind of visual reference, keep track of what's going on. You might notice this blurred box here. So I'm blurring out the VAD indicator because technically we're not really supposed to talk too much about it in detail or reveal exactly how we use a trade with it, because it's not quite ready to release to general public. But I'm blessed enough to be a part of the test team for Apex, which is awesome. So I get to play with some new toys, and I really appreciate that. But we have a whole group of testers working hard to make sure that these new tools are understandable and easy to use. And when they are, they'll be released. I guarantee it.
Order filled.
Okay, I filled, and this time we got some good movement. I pull my stop to break even, but this time I'm not going to trail if I don't get taken out right away. I'm not going to trail very tight. I'm going to give this some room because the VAD was also showing me acceleration of volume, which is important. Reading volume can tell you a lot. Price action gives you direction, and volume combined with price action can confirm it. It's a beautiful thing. Now, any one of these purple lines, which are mini magnets, which we're drawn on to our charts from using the new tools, very valuable. Any one of these could be good targets to take profit, but I wanted to let this run. I just wanted to trail. So once I'm in the position, I want to trail and lock in what I can. And my second target is always at 100 ticks, because that's basically, I'm good with that as a daily goal. If I hit 100 ticks, especially on one trade, I'm done. I'll pack up and go back and take a nap or eat breakfast or whatever. So this time I'm not trailing like I really tight like I normally would, which is just behind the second most recently closed C's diagnostic bar. I'm giving a little bit more room. I'm also going to speed this up. I was checking the structure left real quick to see if there were any areas of consolidation that might be where we might hang up for a little bit, and you can see we're kind of bouncing around where the open was, which is expected. But if we break past that, we're going to get some good momentum, and you're going to see that's what's going to happen here. And there it goes. So my ATM is automatically trailing for me, and then I'm also kind of moving my stop. I'm a little bit tighter than the MVP. I'm giving it about a 15 to 20 tick trailing stop, which to me is a pretty good amount of room. It's a little bit tighter than the MVP, but it works for me. Now you can see those lower magnets down there. And the market dropped down to that lower magnet to the tick. And this is where we kind of pause and the market kind of is wondering what we're going to do. We drop below the green ice, which is always an important level. And I figured, if we don't bounce off the bottom of the green ice and keep going and we pop up and get stopped out, that's okay. I'm okay with that. If the market wanted to keep going down, it probably would have bounced off that green ice and then kept going south. And here we are, just kind of waiting. I'm okay with this. I'm like, yeah.
Stop filled.
And there I go. I'm stopped out. Had a total of 58 ticks for that one trade. I ended up netting 74 ticks for this day, which I'm very happy with. And so there you go. That was that very nice short trade off of the top of the exhaustion of that uptrend with the new indicator telling me that it's time to go short and taking the bottom break of a chop box for an exit. Now on for the summary. So again, this is just kind of a quick view. We had that uptrend into that area where I saw the three lower highs. We had valid I zone signals to go short, and also the tight coil chop on the C's chart, which I took a break of. Targeted basically, I actually, in the elite room, I thought, well, I'm going to target that green ice. I called that out in the elite room. I mentioned that anyone think that's where we're going. That's where I thought it was going, and I got pretty close. We dropped all the way down, and I took profit right above the green ice, and that's that. Nice trade. Okay, as always, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the elite room.